But another great conversation here on the Daybreak Show as we focus on Shelton, this and every week, brought to you by our Community Credit Union. Andy Arnes in studio. I thought you might have forgotten where the studio is, Andy. I'm just kidding about that. Good to see you.
It's great to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
We had Mayor Rogers on and Jeff's new city manager on last week, and they talked about an upcoming way for the community to come to the Civic Center and first hear some updates on some of the great things happening in the city, but then have the ability to ask questions and the like. And I remember coming to one of these last year, and it was highly attended, and there was a lot of good information. Let's get some more on this thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of a follow-up to that first one we had, which was Shelton Out Loud. That was kind of the kickoff to that. We've changed the format just a little bit for this event, changed the name to Spotlight Shelton, which was a little more reflective, I think, of the intent of what we're trying to do. And so the format this time will be an education piece to begin with. So we're going to be talking about some code compliance and information. And that's going to be presented by Captain Mike Fiola, Officer Watanabe, Mark Ziegler, the Community Development Director. Those three will just be providing some information on, helpful information on code compliance and what folks can really information to learn from so that they can implement that, and we can help them and really find resources they need to move forward on some of those things.
It's a new push in the city. Well, not a new push, but a revived push, if you will, on code enforcement. How's that been going for?
I think so far so good. I mean, I know that's been a focus for the council as well, and we have a new code enforcement officer, Officer Watanabe. I think he's been doing a great job, and this is just to kind of continue that momentum and provide information. I think more, and again, those resources for folks and what we're going to be focusing on is not getting into the weeds on a lot of things, but just some of those basic nuisance code things, cleaning up the yard, just some of those appearance things, as we try to make that push and just make our city a little more presentable.
Last year at Shelton Out Loud, I remember hearing a lot of folks bring up different neighborhoods and perhaps specific streets and street addresses that could be cause of concern for code enforcement. And within short order, there was a lot of movement on that. So these are great opportunities to express these concerns that people have.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So, not only will be the education piece, but we're also going to do, you remember last time we had the pulse pads from AWC, so we'll be doing some interactive questioning, which is, that's a fun thing. I enjoy that a lot, and definitely something that helps us as well. So we get that feedback, and like you mentioned, we try to go to work on implementing those things. We are listening, and so, I think that will be a great opportunity for that as well.
So code enforcement, what else is on the first portion of the topic?
Well, that's the focus this time. So so our goal moving forward is to do this twice a year. So sometime in the spring and then in the fall. So we're going to be planning to do another one of these in the fall. And so we'll kind of do a seasonal, focus on that. So that will be the focus as the educational piece, and then kind of a Q&A that's, like I mentioned, surrounded around that. And then we'll move into more of like an open house mixer style this time, as opposed to, last time we had a department heads giving an update, et cetera. This time will be more just open house, and each department will kind of have a station set up, and people can mosey around and talk to those folks and ask questions and interact with them directly, and either present concerns or ask questions and get information directly from the source. So
the other one of these, and I don't remember if it was the same night, probably wasn't, but it was when there was the open house with kind of the initial draw-ups and blueprinted plans for Olympic Highway North, which just got completed. And I remember seeing a lot of folks in the audience there talking with Craig Gregory about some things, and I know too that some tweaks were made after those conversations, and now we're seeing all the hard work that they've put in there. So those community outreach is very important. You guys need to know what people are talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
And give the people the platform to talk about that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's 100% a focus. And this is a great opportunity to do that, and it's something that we are looking forward to, and definitely try to, take that to heart and implement for sure. So.
Saw the new wraps around the electrical boxes.
Right,
the Reed Foundation got those wrapped up there.
Those are looking sharp. Yeah, they were really appreciative of those guys. They approached Mark and said, "Hey, let's do an art project." And I think that was the idea they threw out, and they look fantastic. And so hopefully, I think we're going to be, this is kind of in Mark's wheelhouse, but I think we're going to be trying to find some ways to expand that and include the other boxes in the city. So
it's just pretty. It's pretty nice to drive around and find them. It's like finding a gem, and then it's just another, just a nice little art piece.
Conversation piece, and it's pleasant to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a lot of those in Olympia and
Yeah.
other areas, and so I'm excited to bring that here to Shelton. It looks great.
What else is going on in the city?
Yeah, no, one other thing I wanted to mention, we're in the utility mailer we'll build this month will be the first issue of our new quarterly newsletter that we're releasing. It's called Shelton Stream, so people will see that in the mail, and this is something we're going to do every quarter, and just going to be some highlights and information from the city. Highlight, the obvious one for this this first one was the road construction projects that we have going on, so we're going to do a highlight on that, and some as we move into spring building permits is that's always when we see a rise in that is people starting to apply for permits, and so we're just putting out some information on when people need some permitting, and then will be some updates from each department head and as well as the mayor and council members. So we're going to be including those and kind of rotating through those as we move forward.
I know maybe not necessarily your department, but is there kind of some scuttlebutt around the office on the spring building season? I mean, are people getting a sense that we perhaps have turned a corner and people are going to start coming in and looking for permits and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I think
trends or whatever.
Sure, I think every year in the springtime is when most when people start projects like remodeling and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of times, really, this first go is just to provide that information on when you need a permit. I think a lot of people aren't necessarily aware.
Sure.
Sometimes it's, well, do I need a permit if I swap out my window or if I'm going to patch the roof or put a deck or anything like that?
One, yeah.
So and honestly, I don't always know those things, and so that's our goal, is to just provide that information so people know when they actually need to come and get a permit. And really, it's not to people could sometimes have mixed reactions to that, but it's really more so we can provide that information, some helpful information we have, with the community development folks and the building, the design and that, just so that they can make sure that those are sound and that you're headed down the right path, so it doesn't get more costly later on.
Sure, yeah,
if you have to come back and
right.
fix things, it's always money saving to address those things up front, make sure you're headed down the right direction. So
City of Shelton is active on social media. You can follow them on Facebook and Twitter and the website, of course. We'll put the links to all that in the show notes. Andy, good to see you.
Likewise.
Have a